backdrop.
He does. Yes.
Alrighty, so it looks we are live in all the places we need to be going live. So I would like to say g'day formally to everyone who is joining us here for a very, very special evening of rum. Well, I say evening because it's evening where I am, and for all the people in the Zoom chat drinking along with us tonight, and all the people potentially watching on Facebook and YouTube and wherever else, it might be evening for you if you're in Australia, but it's not evening for everyone in this Zoom chat, because every 2 years or so, it is our great honor to welcome the various members of the Diplomatico Rum Club and production team into the Oak Barrel tasting room. And obviously that's not quite possible at the moment, but we are doing the next best thing and saying g'day from a long way away virtually here for this tasting. If you have one of the tasting packs, this is a completely sold out event. There's none left. Congratulations. Feel free to still join and watch along if you don't have a pack though. We can answer your questions. But my name is Scott Fitzsimons here at the Oak Barrel in Sydney, Australia. It's my great pleasure to welcome a number of people from around the world. Alfonso, marketing Diplomatico side down in Melbourne for Diplomatica, but arguably most importantly, and at 5 a.m. in the morning, live from the other side of the world, the maestro himself, Nelson Hernandez. G'day, mate. How are you?
Hey, how are you? Good.
Very well.
Yes, very exciting.
Yeah.
Yes, for me, it's a big pleasure.
Well, we do appreciate you waking up at 5 a.m. to drink rum with us. We know we had to twist your arm, but Alfonso, how are you doing, mate?
Hey, mate, all good. I'm in Singapore, by the way. For me, just easy meeting. For me, it's 5 p.m. in the afternoon, so that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And side, mate, down in Melbourne, it's been pretty tough for you guys down there. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Lockdown, been at home for quite some time. I got a big shelf full of rum, so I'm surviving, mate. Ready to crack open a bottle and enjoy this evening.
Yeah. Well, with some of you, we like to share a drink every 2 years. So it tends to be every few months, but unfortunately that hasn't happened. So it's good to actually do that this month. But this is it's such a pleasure to be hosting this tasting, not only to hear everyone's insight, but to actually have some of these rums. It's the first time we've been able to put the #3 distillery collection onto the tasting, and Ambassador is getting rarer and rarer to get our hands on. So even for that, it's quite exciting. But first off, I want to sort of throw it out to the Diplomatico team and say, everyone's had their own challenges during 2020, and it's been a very interesting year to say the least. How have you guys dealt with it, and has production changed? Like, how have you guys coped with the year so far?
Nelson, you want to start with that?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Has it been?
Okay.
How's the year been for you, Nelson?
Pardon?
How is the year so far, 2020? Been a challenging year?
Yes. It's the 2020 is the big challenge is the COVID-19. It's a big problem, but we can resolve for this way.
Yeah, and the best thing to do, and I hear it's very good, is drink more rum. So if people are locked down anywhere in the world, just drink more rum, and that makes things better.
Yes, it's the best form.
For Diplomatico, it's been of course like challenging for like everyone else. In our case, it's basically a matter of what region we're talking about. It can be kind of a mixed bag on that matter. Australia, for example, is doing very, very good. We're very happy with the job that is being done there. Southeast Asia, it's okay for saying the least, and so on. So it's kind of a challenging year, as you said.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, everyone's going to have a story, I think, after 2020, yes. Or probably a couple. So, I mean, for people who aren't familiar, Alfonso and Nelson, do you want to maybe just say very quickly what your role is with Diplomatico and how you got there?
Sure can. So, Nelson, if you're okay, I can start on that, and then I leave it to you pretty much the rest of the day. So, in my case, I am I am from the same town from the distilleries. I am Venezuelan myself. I've been in the company since late 2005. And ever since, I've been having the pleasure to represent not only an amazing company, but also in a sense, especially after I moved abroad, I am based now in Singapore looking after Asia Pacific. I have this personal sense of being representing the good side of my country, which makes me very, very proud. I'm very happy to be doing that. So yeah, it's been quite a long, but very, very fun road to go through.
Yep. And Nelson, how long have you been working with Diplomatico?
Okay, first, my name is Nelson Hernandez. I am a mechanical engineer. I graduated almost 42 years ago, and the last 35 is working in our distillery, making a Diplomatico rum. I 65 years. Most of my half-life is making rum. My first years after my graduation in the university, I started working in the principal oil company in Venezuela, and then moved to the rum production. It's much better.
half a life making rum is a life well spent, I think.
¿Puedes traducirme, Alfonso, por favor?
So part of my role here is actually trying to bridge, because at least the way we learn English is mostly on US American accent. So Australian accent can be tricky. So sorry for our broken English in that sense.
No, and I do apologize because I don't speak English. I only speak Australian. So it's very difficult.
Yeah.
No,
Nelson,
I speak one English.
Él decía que la mitad de la vida invertida haciendo ron es una gran vida que tener.
Yes, it's true.
All right, so we've got some runs in front of us. Nelson, do you want to take the lead here and maybe talk us through some runs?
Nelson, que puedes empezar, por favor.
Okay. I showed some slides in my presentation.
Yeah. A couple of shout outs while we're just setting that up to Chow Tran from Barbet. Big fan of Diplomatico, done a lot of great cocktails. And to Pascal, just comments in here as well that rum is our common language. I think I agree with that as well.
Definitely. There you go.
You can see everyone.
Yep, beautiful.
Okay. First, I will comment about our distillery. Our distillery was founded in 1959 by Seagram's, and the principal distributor of the beverage liquid in Venezuela in that time. Seagram Company was a company in that time the #1 in the world. The Seagram Company was a company very oriented to the innovation and quality, and that is our heritage. In this slide, you can see the area view of our distillery. You can see the connection in the installation with the environment. We are very protected in our environment. And now our distillery is 100% family company, 100% Venezuelan rum, 100% local owners in the region, but with a big experience making beverage alcoholic also. I comment about our principal values. For us, three principal values in our philosophy is the people is the principal value. Is we in our distillery we sure for all our people the best condition for the worker and his family, and we support the community where our distillery is installed. We support the community with the sport, health, environment, education, and this is our responsibility with our community. Another value is the quality. The quality is our own quality when the effort to make the job always the focus is in the quality. And the third principal value is the environment. We are very protected to the environment where is installed in our distillery. We have international certification is the ISO 14001 in the protection for the environment. Our distillery is a sustainable distillery. All the packaging material in our distillery is recyclable and is come from the recyclable also. And all the effluent that is produced in our process is sent to the waste treatment plant and transformed in natural fertilizer that we use them for irrigation in our sugarcane field and the grass for the animal food. And we have very protected in our environment. We are is the unique distillery in Venezuela with this certification, the ISO. Okay, the Diplomatico is very consistently ranked around the world the principal premium rum. Normally, in the best 50 bar around the world, our rum Diplomatico is in the top 5 normally in the last 7 years. And for us, it's a very important ubication into the around the world because we have in the exportation market is in only 15 years, and we located with the principal producer around the world, the big companies, the transnational company, and we are a small company, familiar. For us, it's located in this position. We are very proud with this. This slide. Hello.
Sorry, just quickly, I'll jump in there because I just remembered I should say with the sets that we sent out to everyone, they're 30 ml samples. If we were doing this normally, it'd be 15 ml samples. So I've just posted the order on, but if anyone, as we're going through, you don't have to drink all the samples at once because it will be a very big night otherwise. So sorry, Nelson, I just wanted to say that before people started drinking everything.
Yeah. Okay. Continues. In this slide, you can see in whole part around the world, Diplomatico, there are a presence. We have more than 95 countries around the world. It's amazing. We are the Venezuelan rum with the most presence around the world. Our distillery. Where is located our distillery? Venezuela is located in a perfect location for the production of the rum. There are some particular conditions that we have in Venezuela. In this slide, you can see where is located Venezuela. Venezuela is located in the north, in the South America. We have a long coast with the Caribbean Sea. We have we are the country with the most coast with the Caribbean Sea. We are a Caribbean country. Normally, the people, when think in Venezuela, don't imagine that we are a Caribbean country. Another characteristic is very important is that our distillery is located very close to the Andes mountain. That specific location around our environment in our distillery, the humidity is very high, it's over 90%. Other aspect is that almost the 40% of the total territory of the Venezuela is into the Amazonia. We are Amazonian country also, and we are located very close to the Ecuador line. That location allows in Venezuela, we have only 2 seasons, the summer season and the rainy season. But in the rainy season, the temperature is almost similar with the summer. We have a temperature around the year, whole the year in the day, around the 32 Celsius degree, in the night, reduced around the 24 Celsius degree for our location very close to the Andes mountain. And this condition is excellent for the aging process. Our aging process is very accelerated for this condition. All the 4 aspects create in Venezuela a particular environment. It's excellent for the harvest, the sugar cane, and for the production rum. And we have DOC, Rum de Venezuela. There are in the world only 2 countries that are DOC, is the Martinique and the Venezuela. The principal aspect in the DOC is the whole the sugar cane or molasses or honey is produced from the sugar cane produced in Venezuela. The next point is the minimum time of the distillate into the barrel is 2 years. And the ABV is between 40 and 50%, or 80 or 100 proof. It's important to say in this case, in Venezuela, we don't produce rum from sugar cane juice. We produce only from molasses from sugar cane and honey from sugar cane in our rum. Okay, now we will talking about our elaboration process. This view is a look at our distillery and the environment and the mountain and the sugar cane field around our distillery. This is the amazing look at the vision and the protection with the environment. So, as this is very, very important. In our process, it's important to say the 2 raw materials that we use in our rum. We use molasses from sugar cane. The molasses that we use is that the sugar contained into this raw material is between 45 to 55% of the total sugar into the raw material. We use the molasses for produce our light rum, and we fermented this raw material for 24 hours in order to produce the wash that then we send to the field distillation. The second raw material is the honey from sugar cane. The sugar content is between 55 to 65% the sugar in the raw material. We fermented for 48 hours and create the profile that we use in our semi-complex and complex rum. This wash we send to the field distillation as a small column only for the concentrate to the ABV obtained in the fermentation process. When we finish, When we finish the fermentation process, the alcohol contained in the fermenter is around the 7 or 8% of the total alcohol. And then when we send to the field distillation column, we concentrate to the, in this slide, you can see the small column that we use for concentrate the wash obtained in the fermentation and send to the small column. When we fermented molasses, we obtain the low wine with 55%. And the name is low wine. And from the bottom, this small column, we obtain the vinazas or stillage. And this stillage is sent to our water treatment plant in order to transform to the natural fertilizer. And then we use in the irrigation in our sugarcane field or in the grass for the animal food. And when we fermented the sugarcane honey, we produce a low wine with the ABVs 45% the total alcohol, and from the bottom, of course, is produced the vinaza and they sent to the water treatment plant also. We have a green cycle in this process. All the cane from the soil, from the sugar cane, is returned to the soil for irrigation or for the animal food. We are a very green cycle. In the right, the small column, we produce only alcohol from cereal, corn, for produce vodka, whiskey, or gin. And the final vinasse obtained in the bottom of the column is used for the animal food. We have in our farm cows and buffaloes. And that effluent is very, very excellent for food the animal.
Scott, just to add on what Nelson was saying there, Diplomatico process is something that it's has some complexity in it, of course, and different from perhaps some other brands or distilleries. The whole philosophy of Diplomatico's distillery has been doing everything under the same roof. And that's possible based on the heritage of this very large distillery that Seagram's founded back in the days. So please feel free to ask Nelson back and forth how many times you need. In that previous slide he was showing, it's basically the first distillation, as you know, the low wine, and the two of the left are the related to Diplomatico, while the core one that he's mentioning, it's related to different products. We have Diplomatico as the one of the only two brands we export internationally, while for the domestic market, we have about 22 other brands that we produce just for Venezuelan market.
Yeah, because we only...
And I imagine, which is super exciting, but let's not deviate from the main topic.
Yeah,
that's super excited, and we launched it last year in Europe, and it's working very, very well. But yeah, our international phase is being Diplomatico.
Yeah, some breaking news there. Maybe we'll have to come visit this next year. Look inside, well, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, mate. I need to grab a few bottles from Alfonso very soon.
But yeah, and I think there was a question that came through on the Q&A there that Alfonso, you jumped in on just on the Reserva Exclusiva. And if anyone's got that in front of them, feel free to take a sip of that. Just touching on that complexity, and we're going to get into the different distillation types with the 1, 2, and 3. But, you know, as you sort of answered in the Q&A there, Alfonso, that the Reserva is like a mix of all of them, and you do taste that complexity in it.
Yeah, so Nelson is going to explain later. I mean, Diplomatico is a blend from the very beginning. You have what Nelson was explaining about the raw materials, the molasses and sugarcane honeys, and then they go separately by the different low wines process, which is the slide you have in front of you. And then we're going to go through distillery collection, which is a single still product to showcase each still. right? But if you take a look to Planas, Mantuano, and Exclusiva, all of them are a mix, are a blend of everything that Nelson is explaining. So there's not, which is what makes the Diplomatico process interesting, by the way. It's not an easy to digest right away. Oh, this is 12, 8, and 6. You know, it's something that it goes slightly beyond, and that's what makes its complexity possible.
Yeah, 100%. Do you want to continue, Nelson?
Yeah. Now we're talking about our 3 different distillation equipment. We have 3 unique and exclusive distillation equipment. The first equipment, for example, is the batch kettle. The batch kettle with a discontinuous distillation process. This equipment was installed until 1959 in Canada, producing Canadian whiskey, and then it's sent to our distillery in Venezuela, and we adapted in order to produce semi-complex distillate for semi-complex rums. Here, this is a view of the batch kettle. In the picture in the left is at the connection with the small column. This is the drawing, the big kettle connected with the small column. This is a discontinuous process. In this process, we make 3 cuts: head, center, and tail. In this equipment, we put into the big kettle, they said 60,000 liters of the capacity. We put around the 50,000 liters into the kettle, start heating, and the vapor in the yellow line is connected with the small column and start the process. With this equipment, we obtain a final distillate with the 95 ABV, but it's a distillate is very creamy, floral, fruity, some oily. It's some tropical fruit you can feel in your smell, and then with this distillate, we reduce this distillate to 95 ABV to 65 ABV in order to put into the barrel. And then when we put into the barrel, 6 years then, we obtain a rum like this. And this rum is exactly the distillery collection number 1. And in this rum, we reduce to 47 ABV. This is the final ABV into the bottle for the distillery collection number 1. And in the next slide, I have the profile tasting. If we can start the tasting with the distillery collection number 1.
Yeah, sure. Scott,
okay.
If it's all good, let's have a little sample of the batch kettle number 1, and then we can do a little nose and a taste.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yes, it's this rum, if you can smell the distillate and then how is the evolution into the barrel. 6 years then, we use the American white oak in different barrels. Some barrels normally hold the most quantity is the used barrel, ex-bourbon, and then malt whiskey or ex-bourbon directly to the rum, or new barrel directly to the rum. And for the specific environment condition in Venezuela, the evolution is very accelerated. for our high humidity around our distillery and the temperature high all the year, the evolution is very accelerated, but natural. For example, 1 year the aging in Venezuela, the maturation evolution into the barrel is almost equivalent to the 3 year, for example, in Scotland, in the evolution for our environment condition. For this reason, when you taste the distillery collection number 1, you can smell some note of the Jerez, for example, this is a brandy or a red fruit. Some spice like a canela, regaliz.
I get like a burnt caramel.
Caramel. Pardon?
It's interesting. Like I was just sipping on the Reserva Exclusiva, and this seems very medium bodied in comparison. You know, it's that little bit lighter. The flavors are a little bit more vibrant and bright. It's quite, but so you can see how this is part of the characteristic and part of the building blocks of the Exclusiva.
Yes, remember, Exclusiva for in advance, the Exclusiva, the 80% is pot still up 12 year. It's like the distillery collection number 3, but up 12 year. And another 20% is a batch kettle and barbet column. You can feel it in some note in the Reserva Exclusiva, similar to the distillery collection number 1. The distillery collection number 1, you feel some sweetly in the good honey. This is the mouth is and this is a 47 ABV, but it's very rounded. It's smooth. It's very creamy. You feel the sweetness of the caramel honey, some spicy notes. It's a
It's
very balanced. Pardon?
No, you continue. Sorry.
Yes, this is a semi-complex rum. This is the part of our traditional range. Our range in the distillery collection, the idea is show the construction in our blend of the rum. All our blend rums is a combination of the 3 different distillation equipment, and this is the one. And it's important in this rum is we don't use dosage in the rum, but you feel sweetness.
Yeah, and it's you do get that little bit of dryness as well, though. 100%, I agree. And this is why I'm so excited about tonight, because I've never tried 1, 2, and 3 all together in a row before.
Yeah,
and you get the different flavors, but also there's different textures and they feel different. And it's very rare to be able to try these.
Just to build or insist on what Nelson is saying. So again, the distillery collection range, which is quite exciting, is basically a single still showing in order to highlight, to show each of the different processes. So you have, again, molasses and sugarcane honey. You do the first slow wine, which is the first distillation process, separately. And then separately, it goes either through the batch kettle, and then it's separately aged through what Nelson is going to be talking later, the next number 2 pots, the Barbet, and separately number 3. Each one of them aged separately, and each one of them afterwards they meet only in the tradition range that Nelson is talking about, right? So it's not that they first go through this one and then they all together go through this one. It's a very separate process.
Yeah, and this specific distillation on this rum we use is a sugarcane honey. The wash, the fermentation is the sugarcane honey, and the low wine is from the sugarcane honey. And the low wine that we put into the big kettle is the low wine from the sugarcane honey. This is the raw material for this rum, the STIL collection number 1. And this equipment in the rum industry in the world, this is the unique equipment with this geometric specific. Remember, in this continuous process, the configuration of the equipment is very important in the final distillation. In this equipment, the head and tail we don't use for put into the barrel. The head and tail we send to the another column in order to rectify and create a neutral alcohol for another product, for liquid. But for Diplomatico, we use only the center, the new making only with the center in this case, and then put in the barrel, and the 6 years after in the barrel, the profile taste and flavor is like this, the STIL collection number 1. And here, this is a small model similar to the real in our distillery.
Where can I get one of those models?
Pardon?
Where can I get one of them? It would look good in my lounge room.
Nelson, que de dónde pueden sacar uno como eso para él.
No, this was printed with the printer 3D. Okay. Let me make some diligence in order to try to find one for you.
I will pay you in more rum.
Yes, it's a nice model in order for the education. Is very, very nice. There are some questions in this process until now. Okay, the next distillation equipment is the Barbet column. The Barbet column is a continuous distillation process. Normally, in the distillation continuous process in the column, the final ABV that you obtain, 95 ABV, the smell normally is very flat, like a vodka. But we have this special column, that this column was designed in 1959, especially for our distillery. That column was designed and manufactured in France, and the creator of this design was a guru of the distillation in France. The name is Emily Barbet. But in this column, we can obtain a new maker with 95 ABV, but very aromatic. Why is the difference in the process? In this slide, you can see the comparison with the standard column with the Barbet special column in our distillery. In the column in the left, you can see the internal design. It's a plate like a cascade, but in our special Barbet column, there are some area with a specific internal design that allow the some components that in the standard column don't go with the top, the column, and out with the final distillate, but with our Barbet column, that component go and is go with the final distillate, and the smell in this case, in the new make octane is 95 ABV, but it's very aromatic. You feel some clean bliss, some tropical fruit. It's completely different with the standard distillate obtained in the standard column. It's amazing smell in this new maker. And then after 4 years into the barrel, the evolution, the final result, final run is the STIL collection number 2. And when you compare, if you compare the evolution, the new maker, after 4 years in the barrel, the evolution is amazing for our specific environment condition in our distillery. And we can smell the rum. You have in your hand the distillery collection number 2.
Yep, well ahead of you. It's amazing how there's similar flavor profiles and there's similarities, but again, completely different. And the weight and the structure is very different as well.
Yes. In this case, the distillery collection number 2, the Barbet, 100% Barbet column, there are some smoking note that the people like American whiskey love this rum. It's more dry in comparison with the distillery collection number 1. You feel the woody. Some spice.
Nelson, how much of that sort of that slight smokiness and that bit of spice, how much do you think is coming from the barrel and how much is coming from the still?
Yes, it's a combination. I can see it's around this. I say that 70% is from the wood, and another 30% is from the new maker, from the distillate. It's a combination. And for our case, for our specific environment condition, the humidity high, the temperature normally constant whole the year, the high the day, down in the night, the evolution into the barrel is very, very important. And for us, it's more or less the combination. 70% is from the woods on the aging process, and around the 30% is from the new maker.
Yeah, just to put it in perspective for people who are watching on, who may not have been to Venezuela, how hot would it get in summer on a summer's day? Are we talking 30 degrees Celsius or 35 degrees Celsius? What sort of temperatures are we looking at?
The temperature average all the year is around the 32 Celsius degree.
Yeah. So
and for our case, and whole the year, including the summer and the rainy season, for example, in these months is the rainy season, but is hot and rainy, and the temperature is hot also. And for our case, that we are located, our distillery very close to the Star de Andes mountain, the temperature in the night reduced. It's very fresh in the night. For this location, very close to the Andes mountain, and this differential between the day and the night, the barrel whole the year breathe. The day expand, the night contract, the oxygen into the barrel and create the new component, the reaction with the component of the wood, with the new maker. It's a very, very dynamic process into the barrel and create for our conditioner. The evolution is very fast, but natural. It's very important. And for this reason, you can feel the big evolution between new maker and the final rum.
Yeah, that's why you're still wearing long sleeves, because it's still dark where you are. It's still cold.
Yes, the collection number 2 is a very elegant rum. It's more drier. It's nice. It's the smell, that the smoke is very engagement. It's very nice.
Yeah, completely different to number 1.
Yes, completely different. And in the next equipment is a pot still double retort. In this slide, you can compare the difference in the geometric of the construction in our pot still double retort with the standard double retort used in the Caribbean island, in the Caribbean distiller. If you see the swan neck, the connection between swan neck with the first retort in the Caribbean, the connection is from the top of the retort. In our case, the connection between the swan neck with the first retort or the second retort is from the lateral in the bottom. In the discontinuous process, that geometry, there are a lot of influence in the final distillate. For this reason, and this design is unique in the rum industry. Don't exist another distillery in the world with a similar geometric in the pot still. This equipment was installed until 1959 in Scotland, producing malt whiskey, and they adapt to the retort with a specific design. Remember, the Seagram was a company very innovation, and for this reason, change the geometric in order to find the STIL profile different in the final new maker. Here, we made. Look, in this slide, you can see more how is the connection between the swan neck with the field retort is from the lateral. In the right, in the top, is the picture on the distillery on the Caribbean. This is a very different geometry. Here we produce 3 cut: head, center, and tail. The low wine that we use here is from the sugarcane honey. The low wine from sugarcane honey that we put in our pot still. Our pot still, the capacity is 6,500 liters of the capacity. The final distillate that we obtain in this equipment is 80 ADV, and we reduce to 55 ABV in order to put into the barrel. The new maker obtaining this equilibrium is more complex. You feel the flower, floral, creamy, oily, some herbal notes. It's very complex new maker. And when we put into the barrel, reduce to 55 ABV, and then 8 years into the barrel, we obtain the Distillery collection number 3 and 47 ABV. The ABV is more higher, but we reduce with a special water treatment in order to reduce to 47 ABV. And the smell in this rum is the Distillery collection number 3. Wow, it's more complex. You feel some red fruit scent.
Yeah, I was just commenting on the chat. I haven't actually tried this one before. I was resisting until tonight to try it for the first time. And just the plushness of the berries, like blackberries and dark berries, almost like
yes,
really intense grape juice and all that sort of thing. It's like really big, bright. Yeah, this is. I knew it was going to be big and oily because I knew what a pot still could do, but I didn't think it was going to be this expressive.
Yes, the evolution, the new maker into the barrel. For example, for us, the minimum age that you can use with the pot still minimum is 4 years. If you taste before 4 years, is the rum is for us is very younger at that moment. After 4 years, is the expression of the rum is more intensive, it's more complex. With 8 years, is for us the best expression that we can obtain with the pot still. Okay, for the Reserva Exclusiva, we use up 12 years because this new maker, when the evolution is going on to the 12 year, it's more powerful. But for us in 47, in order to show the characteristic of the pot still, is the 8 year and 47 ABV. Here, when you smell, you can find many smell that you find in the Reserva Exclusiva. Yeah, some vanilla, caramelo, and smoky. Yeah, find some regalices, some spices. The sweetness. I remember the Distillery collection number 1, number 2, and number 3 is not dosage. The sweetness that you feel in each rum is from the aging process. When the wood is burned, is some caramelized, the component of the wood create a sweetness. No, it's amazing rum. It's a very complex. In your mouth, if you put is.
Yeah, I might wear this as perfume on my way home tonight.
Alfonso, it's amazing.
Yeah.
For us, the pot still is the soul of the Diplomatico.
Yeah.
It's amazing new maker, and the evolution into the barrel is a very, very, very great, the evolution. And normally in some session we have more time, we make some activity is in the blending session. If you have some quantity of the distillery collection number 1, number 2, and number 3, and put together in different proportion, you can obtain the final rum according with the proportion. If you put more to the circulation, it's more complex, more heavy. If you put more Kettle, it's medium. If you put more Barbet, it's more light. But if you change the proportion, the final profile changes incredible. It's amazing. It's a very good activity. It's very, very nice in order to understand where is from the complexity of the Diplomatico. Now, each rum combined in different proportion, we create our traditional range. Diplomatico Plana, Diplomatico Mantuano, Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva, and our last release, it was Diplomatico Selección de Familia. In slave in advance, I showed the how is the composition, the whole our range of the rum.
Yeah, just a couple of comments coming through on the chat about that one. Ben Harvey, picking up a lot of the berry notes there, saying it's almost as botanical as a gin, which is remarkable because in a gin, if you taste berries, it's because someone has gone and put berries into it. This is all coming from the STIL and the cane juice, and then and the aging, obviously. And the Venezuelans have pointed out that that's so different. And I think I agree. That's probably the most different out of the 3 of the distillery collection. I would agree with that 100%.
Okay, in our aging process, in this slide is very interactive, showing how is the influence of the barrel into the final rum. This is the aromatic profile of the barrel, the bourbon or white American white oak, toasting or char in different temperature. In the corner, in the right, in the top, you can see the different temperature with the toast of the wood, and the influence when you change that temperature. In this slide, you can see the different smell that the barrel contribution with the final rum. You find the vanilla notes, spices, almond, coconut, cinnamon, bread toast, nut, toffee, regaliz, anise, pepper, clove, chocolate, coffee, tobacco, include bacon. Normally, in some session, the people ask me, "Hey, master, in what moment you put the chocolate into the barrel, or vanilla into the barrel, or coffee into the barrel?" No, I say no. It's natural. It's from the barrel. In the time, depending of the new maker that you put into the barrel, the time, the location into the warehouse is there. But this, when we smell, for example, the distillery collection number 1, number 2, and number 3, many aromas is from here, is from the barrel. And when you taste the new maker, you find some aromas similar, but in the aging process, some aromas increase with the interchange with the wood of the barrel, with the oxidation, with the oxide is into the barrel and create, and this is normally the aromas and taste that you find normally in a rum that is aging in the American white oak.
Yeah. Nelson, I know some of the people who are in the room and are watching on Facebook here who are very interested. I guarantee they all took a screenshot of that slide to put on their wall at home. That's very, very interesting.
I definitely did that yesterday.
Yes, this slide, you can see the internal view is in our warehouses. And in the left, the picture is the area view, the whole our warehouses. Look at the green area for the environment, because for us it's very important that aspect, the environment. The excellent connection between the environment and the structure and the factory. And it's important comment in our aging process. We don't use Solera method. We use a static method. When we say a static method is when we put into our warehouses a barrel for 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, 6 years. In that time, that barrel don't move. In that time, we move only when we need to dumping the barrel. And the angel share, we don't refill the angel share. For example, when we dumping barrel or the STIL 12 years, the evaporation losses, total evaporation losses is around the 60% of the initial volume that we put into the barrel. But the rum into the barrel is very powerful in flavor and taste. We don't refill. That volume is out. We use a static method. Our annual share average is 7 or 8% a year. Is very high in comparison with Scotland. Scotland maximum 2.5, 2.5%. But the evolution into the barrel is 3 times more accelerated or more concentrated in our rum. For this condition, the environment condition in our aging process is very important. And for this is our rum are very powerful in flavor and taste. And here is my partner, Mr. Tito Cordero, and myself. We are the master blenders in our distillery. We have more than 30 years working together, development and create new expression, new rums with all our equipment. The assurance, quality assurance department, our people, all the people in our distillery put some part in the result, the final result in our rum. Mr. Tito, myself, we are faces around the world, but behind us is a big equipment in our distillery. It's around 600 people, and each one put some part in the final rum. For duration, Diplomatico is from the heart. For in our company, we converse in the passion. We love that we make, and for us, this is very important. The connection with the people, with the connection with the passion for produce a spectacular rum. In this slide, we show how is the matrix, the different barrel, different new make it, that we use for produce our blend of the rum. The distillery collection, not part of for the traditional range is Mantuano, Reserva Exclusiva, and Planas, and the last one is the Selección de Familia. In the row in the left is the three different new makers. The Barbet column, we aging between 2 and 6 years. The batch Kettle, we aging between 2 and 8 years. And the pot still, we aging between 4 to 12 a year. And then we put in that different barrel for different ages, and imagine the big matrix that we have the different rums that allow it, Mr. Tito and myself, for take the proportion in different proportion, different, you make a different age, different barrel, and we can create that rum that you can imagine in the aromatic profile and taste. We have a big matrix. It's like a painter with a color palette. For us, it's a maintain this, and we every year take samples of our different loads in order to they follow the how is the evolution, the each distillate into the each barrel. And this is our memory in order to know the Barbet in Barbet each, the profile is like this is like this, and you can combine. When we develop a new rum, we can prepare between 20 and 50 samples, and if you discard and obtain the final rum.
Nelson, 1 second on that slide. I think it's quite important to digest it, in the sense that this is a huge summary of what happens on the last 10 slides. You can see there exactly each of the different distilled products that are going into each of the different kind of barrels, while the final product is blended at the very end. So if you go to the distillery and you look into our warehouses, you don't see a product that says Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva. You see a product that says batch Kettle from, I don't know, 2017, that started aging in that, and they have codes for each kind of the different kind of alcohols, and the blending happens very, very at the end of it. The other thing that it's important to mention at this slide is that there's a product that it's only been launched in 2 or 3 countries in Europe, which is the Diplomatico on the far left, right. We could talk about it later, but it's not in Australia, it's not in Asia, it's not in the US, it's not in South America. It's basically developed for specific countries for the moment, and we will brief everyone on that later on. So just
Sai, we're going to talk about this afterwards, Sai.
Yeah, we got a few products we need to talk about, Scott.
That's it. Yeah, I think Nelson's thrown you under the bus here. There's some things I didn't know about there. So.
Yeah, Nelson is spoiling all the surprise for the next 3 years.
Yeah, I was worried about the poster in the first place because he was holding a bottle of the Selección de Familia.
Yes, the Selección de Familia is this.
Yeah.
Is it the picture in myself into the warehouse? Is it the bottle?
Yeah.
Okay. The next. Okay.
So continue, Nelson.
Okay. The next slide show you how we create our prestige range. The single vintage and ambassador. In the row in the left, our prestige rank is 100% pot still. 12-year aging in the 3 different barrels. Is whiskey rum, is bourbon rum, new barrel, and after 12 years, we make a finish into the Jerez specific barrel. It's a big barrel, the 500 liter of the Oloroso. And for the case of the single vintage, we, in our whole inventory with 12 years in the pot still, we select that loads with a specific aromatic profile and select that specific aromatic profile. When we don't find that specific aromatic profile, that year don't release. For example, 2003 don't release because we don't find that specific aromatic profile. When we find that specific aromatic profile, we dumping and put into the cherry oloroso for 1 additional year. The quantity of the bottle that we produce with this selection is around the 50 or 60,000 bottles a year. It's a limited production because it's a special selection for this single vintage Diplomatico. Okay, in resume, it's a 12-year, 100% pot still, plus 1 year the finish into the Jerez Oloroso for 1 year additional. In the Ambassador, Diplomatico Ambassador, is 100% pot still, 12 years, but this is the selection in our best loads taken with our pincers, and the quantity of the bottle that we produce with this selection is between 50 or 6,000 bottles a year. It's a quantity less in comparison with the single vintage. When we made that selection, we put for 2 years additional into the barrel from Jerez Pedro Ximénez. Oloroso and Pedro Ximénez, there are a Jerez, the high gun in Spanish, Jerez. And in this process, for 2 years additional into the Jerez Pedro Ximénez barrel, create Ambassador. Ambassador is a strange cask. It's 47 ABV, and the single vintage is 43 ABV. When you compare the aromatic profile, the single vintage and Ambassador is completely different. Each is one in comparison with another. And here you can see how we produce Diplomatico Ambassador. That we include in the tasting. In this slide is a resume the whole our range of the Diplomatico. It's the Mantuano, Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva, Planas, Selección de Familia, Single Vintage, Ambassador, and the Distillery Collection number 1, number 2, and number 3. For example, the comment that say Alfonso some minutes ago, Mantuano, the composition is 40% pot still up 8 years, and 20% is Kettle, and 40% is Barbet column. With this combination, we create the Diplomatico Mantuano. Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva is 80% is pot still up 12 years, and 10% is Kettle, and 10% is Barbet column. This arrangement, we create the aromatic profile of the Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva. And Diplomatico Planas is 50% hot still up 6 years, and 40% is basket and 10% is Barbet column. But when you combine the three different distillate, look at this, the distillery collection 1, 2, and 3. When you blend, the color is gold, but it's white because we filter across the charcoal and remove the color. And our rum is a aging rum, a special aging rum. This is a blend, but it's white. If you compare the aromatic profile of the Diplomatico Plana in comparison with the standard white rum in the market, is completely different. Normally, the white rum in the market is not aged or minimum time, but Diplomatico Plana is completely different. It's a premium white aging rum, but it's white. In your form, I say the Diplomatico Plana is the Michael Jackson of the rum.
Can I say, Nelson, that is my favorite slide out of all of them. I love that slide. That one for me is perfect. I've been waiting for that slide for 5 years. That's beautiful.
Yes, we showed how we make our Diplomatico rum, where it's from, the whole the complexity of the Diplomatico rum. Diplomatico is a different. We use a different raw material. We use a different distillation equipment. We use a different barrel. We use a different age. We are a different combination, and we can create that aromatic profile unique in each rum. If you smell each one together, you can feel the big difference one in comparison with another. That is our flexibility, our versatility in our distillery, because we have a big matrix, the rum in our inventory. Different barrel, different, you make it different year, and it's over 100 different rums in our inventory.
Yeah. Just Nelson, just to jump in there, because there's a bit of a chat going on. And when we were first talking to Sai about putting this on, one of the things we wanted to do is there's very, very small amount of Ambassador in Australia. And out of the 2 bottles of each that we sort of got, we broke down, we got 45 samples out of it. So some people were commenting the lids are on very tight, because if anything leaked, we couldn't replace it, because that's all it was. The only spare set is the one I'm drinking tonight. So thankfully everyone got there. But in terms of, we wanted to get into as many people's mouths as possible. And that's obviously a little bit different with certain states being closed and bars not being able to open and that sort of thing. So with 45 sets out there tonight, that's about as many as bottles came in to the country, like were available in total. So yes, I have 2 bottles in total. I had 4. We're drinking 2 of them tonight to get out to as many people as possible. But there is 2 left. I mean, once we sell out, there will be other independent retailers that have some as well, and that they will be out there as well. But yes, just wanted to note that you know, again, thank you to Sai for allowing us to do this, to actually get this out to as many people as possible in this very strange year.
But our pleasure, man. It's definitely our pleasure. Yeah. More importantly, you know, we got Nelson to do this. As soon as I spoke to Alfonso, messaged me that Nelson's available to do a masterclass, and that was the most exciting thing ever this year, especially. So now it's our pleasure. Thanks for hosting, and thanks everybody for joining. Yeah,
and I don't mean to interrupt, Nelson. I just wanted to say, because one of those bottles is already gone. I just saw the alert come through. So yeah. Please continue, Nelson. Sorry.
Okay. Now our rums. Okay, and the important part, let's taste Okay, but say that the distillery collection number 1, number 2, and number 3 is ready. Is it a resume of the Bass Kettle? Is that a resume of the distillery collection number 2, the number 3? This is a result that we reach in different events. The distillery collection number 1 in some events find 92% the points. The distillery collection number 2 is 98, and the distillery collection number 3 is 94.5. Look at the high evaluation that we obtained with our distillery collection range. So that very, very important. Show that for this year, when you combine a different proportion, create a spectacular rum. And Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva. Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva. This is our principal rum. Review the composition. Remember, is 80% hot still up 12 years, and the another 20% is a Bass Kettle and Barbet called a combine. It's important to say to comment in our blend rums. Here, Matuano and Plana, we use some dosage in order to round it. When you blend, we use a system like a dosage in the champagne. When they produce a liquor from wine, we produce a liquor from rum. We combine syrup simple with the heavy rum together, then put into the barrel for 6 months, and then we take a small quantity in order to the tinsel for rounded our rum. The Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva. This is an amazing rum. It's our flagship in the whole market around the world. It's a premium rum. It's in smell. It's amazing. It's a very complex aromatic smell. The principal note is orange peel, some regaliz, some vanilla, caramel, honey, some tobacco.
Yeah, so this is the one we were sort of sipping on at the very start. And if anyone listened to what I said was to pour 15 ml samples, you would have 15 mils left to go to right now. But I dare say there's a couple of people that may have drunk a little bit more than 15 mils at the start. But it's actually quite fascinating to go back after Nelson has given such a detailed, in-depth experience about all these different distillation techniques. It gives us even though I've loved this rum for so long, it gives such a different appreciation of the 80% and the 20%. So hopefully you all listened and have a little bit left and only poured 15 mils at the start. Yeah, I think a few failed to follow instructions, as John Bertha says.
Yes, now all the people know where is from the complexity of our rum. For example, this rum blend is a Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva. When you smell, you remember notes of the distillery collection number 1, you remember note of the distillery collection number 2, and the more influence of the distillery collection number 3. When you combine, the complexity in the smell is very, very, very. You don't find a constant note. It's very balanced note in the nose. You feel the sweetness, good. It's a lot of the aromas.
It is by far the Diplomatico and by far the rum we sell the most of. If you look at the last 5 years of history, and some other rums have come and gone, so it's not particularly fair on them, but for a consistent product over the last 5 years, or the past 5 years, I should say, you by far our biggest selling rum. And at the Oak Barrel, we get people who like to try new things. And so they buy one and then they'll come back and buy something else. We have people that come back and they just buy Reserva Exclusiva over and over again. It's one of the very few bottles that we see that with here.
Yes, and the mouth is very rounded. Is when you put in the mouth, it's like you put in the bowl into the mouth. It's very rounded. You feel the sweetness. You feel the.
Yeah. So I mean, just Nelson, when you are blending this rum, how do you make sure batch to batch it's the same?
Yes, how we assure them the ease load? Is that the question? All the batch is the same. Yes, the consistency is the yes. We have a big matrix. For us, the final profile is the same. But we have the combination, the different barrels, different proportion. Is easy to maintain our profile because we have consistent load that the composition. It's a natural. When blend is a natural. It's slow. We taste it with the equipment in our lab and Mr. Tito, myself. Because for us, it's very important the quality assurance. Remember, this is our principal value. It's the quality, it's the people, and the environment. The quality for us is very, very important part in our process. And for us, the aromatic profile and taste and smell is very important for us, and with the different around that we have in our inventory, the assurance, this is easy because, like I said before, we whole the year taste the different loads in order to assurance the evolution, the yeast, the delay in each round, because the aromatic profile, the final aromatic profile, is maintained. For us, it's very important.
Yeah, it's just so it's so well rounded. For us, it's a bit of a touchstone of premium. I think it actually says it there better than I could probably say it. Premium dark sipping rum. You know, it's quite hard to go past this in the price point it sits at for the cost. There's very little out there that for me has this quality, and I think a lot of that's down to you, Maestro, for year in, year out making such an excellent rum, and you know you are in charge of that consistency. So I think raising a glass to you at this point in time is not not out of place at this point. Yeah.
Yes, we have a slogan with Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva. You love it or you never take it.
You love it or you haven't tasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, pardon. It's my white English. Yes, in your modern, when the people in some session ask me, "Hey, master, how you drink the Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva?" and I say frequently. but with responsibility.
Yeah. Frequently, but responsibly. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Some question?
Yeah, well, there's actually been a few questions come through that Alfonso's actually been excellent in answering in the Q&A section. There is one or two I wanted to bring up here that one of my questions that I was actually going to ask that I believe it was Rupert asked about the 47% thing. Why so many rums at 47%? And remembering back to one of the earlier slides, the DOC of Venezuelan rum, it can be no higher than 50%. So is that just this is where we think that the rum tastes the best at 47%? Because 4 out of the 5 we've tried tonight were 47%.
The range is for low and from DOC. For low, we have a very strict law from the produced alcoholic beverage, and they define the maximum value for some healthy consideration for the regulation of for healthy, the maximum ABV for the alcoholic beverage is 50%.
Yeah. I'm just going to bring you up onto the big screen as well there, Nelson, because I think you have the best background out of all of us. So I want people to see as much of the background as possible now into the Q&A session. I've got a question just for me. Obviously, it's about, 6:30 a.m. in the morning there right now. If you weren't drinking rum with us right now, what would your day look like? Would you already be up working, or would you be still in bed at this point? Like, what time do you start, and what would you be doing now if you weren't drinking with us?
Alfonso, ¿me puedes comentar un poquito
Sí, él dice que si no estuvieras haciendo esta cata ahorita, ¿qué estuvieras haciendo? ¿Cómo se ve tu día? ¿Cómo es tu rutina diaria, más o menos?
Now, for the situation, is preparing some activities by online. For example, at 10 a.m., we have an interview with a journalist from UK, with David Palacios and the journalist from the UK. There are I have an interview with that journalist, and now we have a lot of the connection by online. That in normal situation, in this hour, I going to our distillery for the normal activity in our process. Now the change is we stay in my house mostly of the time. We order my house only for buy some specific things for food or drink, but now is preparing information and different presentations. For example, tomorrow we have activity with the DOC here in Venezuela. And Friday I have activity with the Karina Ramirez with the people from the Houston in USA. In the Saturday I have activity with the sommelier academic in Venezuela. It's normally now a lot of the activities by online. It's my normal activity now, but in other situation, is into the distillery or in the international market, making master classes in different countries. It's the composition, the normally activity.
You're an online expert now.
I try.
I just wanted to give some kudos to Nelson on that, because in Spanish we also have the saying differently, but it's about the saying that goes that You cannot teach an old dog new tricks, right? That's what it says in English. So in that sense, Nelson's English learning comes from his very adult age, basically very recently, when he was already up for the challenge of spreading the love and explaining Diplomatico in a more, having a wider reach other than Spanish. So himself made him better. You know, he learned English, he took it as a challenge. And on top of that, he's not at the office, that's his home. And he made all this TV stage, you know, getting again up to the challenge of, okay, now everything is online, I need to get better on that. And kudos as well for the company, because, I mean, if you Google news about Venezuela, unfortunately, we are not in the best shape right now. Even without COVID, we are not in any best shape right now. So internet connections are not by far any good. So basically the company installed a very specific internet connection in order for him to be doing this. And honestly, it looks very, very good compared to, I don't know, when we speak to family or whatever. So this, just wanted to recognize that as a very important highlight of the effort that he's making on it.
Yeah, 100%. And it must give you guys so much pride to be, I think, Alfonso, you touched on it very early on. You're representing the good bits or the best bits of your country right now, which must be very, very special for you. I know I'm very aware of the fact that we asked you for 1 hour and we've gone well over that. So just one more question, please, that came up about halfway through the chat that I think Alfonso touched on, but I think it came from the Venezuelans. I can't quite find it in the chat. There's been a lot of comments there. But when you're blending and you're creating a new product, so say like La Familia, are you inspired by Venezuelan culture and cuisine and the spices that are around? And you know, like when you're creating a new product, what inspires you when you're blending things together? You know, what's the thought process there? I don't know if that makes sense. You might need to translate, Alfonso, from my Australian.
Maestro, lo que pregunta es, ¿cómo es la inspiración para llegar a estos blends? Porque en el chat habían comentado sobre cómo era la influencia de, por ejemplo, de los sabores de Venezuela y el factor quizás cultural sobre eso. Al momento de que ustedes hacen los blends, toman las decisiones de hacer los blends y el flavor profile de Diplomatico.
Yes, there are influence the Venezuelan people. We like a lot the sweetness. It's a particular, normally the people like a sweetness. In Venezuela for many years, some years ago, the whiskey sells a lot. And whiskeys, premium whiskeys, aging 12 years, 18 years, 21 years. And there are a culture tasting complex whiskeys. And when we create the new profile premium of the rum, because normally the rum was a standard rum. It's a very hot, very dry rum. And the people some year ago, maybe 15 or 20 years ago, prefer drink a whiskey in comparison with the standard rum. Now, when we create a rum premium with a specific profile, it's a combination the style of our rum in Venezuela, and with some culture of the tasting the people, with the tasting another beverage liquid and brandies or cognac or whiskey, Scotch whiskey, drink it a lot many years ago. The profile of the taste on the Venezuelan is our style of the Venezuela. For the Venezuelan people, some style of another rum from another country is not our style. we have a style specific. If you compare our rum in comparison with another rum from another countries, there are very different aromatic profile and taste. I think for this reason now, in the actual moment around the world, the Venezuelan rum, there are a very nice position in the rum, in the premium rum. In diplomatic is between the five rum. The best rum is in the world because it's a style different. It's our style. It's our Venezuelan style. It's our diplomatic style. Is different. We don't say the best or worst. No, we say the different. It's our style that we put over the table.
One of the beautiful things, just to add on that very quickly, Scott, is that the different amount of countries that are making rums nowadays, right? Like, well, so each one of them has a quite different style of them. If you compare, not good or bad, just different. If you compare Jamaican rums with Cuban rums, they are worlds apart, right? If you compare Martinique rums with Panamanian rums, they are worlds apart as well. So often when people says, and they are totally entitled to, of course, to me a true rum is Jamaican rum, just to say something, that's totally cool, as long as people understand the diversity of it. It's, in my opinion, what makes it like a very interesting category. Also makes it a very complicated category to explain, right? So each of the countries has a different context, has a different history, slightly different history, and a different regulation, a different law set that makes their rum different styles. So it's just a matter it's like, I guess, Netflix nowadays. You will find a show you like, you will find a rum you like, and Venezuelan style is quite consistent if you compare it not with Jamaican rums, not with other rums, but if you compare it as Venezuela. You compare it to Santa Teresa, you compare it with Pampero, you compare it with Diplomatico, you see there's a style there within the Spanish universe, right? So if you ask a Venezuelan, what's the best rum in the world, you'll say, hell yeah, well, it's Venezuelan rum. But if you ask a Brazilian, what do they think about rum? They say rum should be cachaça, right? And, so this difference are amazing, but it's just a matter of finding your own one.
Yeah, 100%. And that's, I think I said it last time that we had the team in the room there, that to get around that concept of that confusion of all these different rules that are all legitimate, but all just in different regions, is transparency. And I don't think I've seen as much transparency in a tasting or anything that I've seen tonight. Just going like, this is not only how we do it, and this is what they mean, but here are 3 different releases that are commercially available that you can buy and take home. They're not just samples you get to try for tonight, about what these different distillates mean. And then all the information that Nelson has given, as well as the slides. And I know there's a few people asking where the slides are going to be available. And yeah, the whole video is on our Facebook and YouTube, so you can go back and watch this as many times as you want. And I think that's really, so encouraging for me. Is Diplomatico is not a small company; it's a long way away from where we are. But the foresight that you as a team have had to come along and say, well, actually, people want to know about this, and we're going to give it to them, and we're not even just going to tell them; we're going to let them taste it as well. That's a real credit to yourselves and the whole team there, to the Maestro and to Tito and to everyone, because it's so rare to get that insight into that look in behind the curtain, so to speak. So hats off to you. And speaking of hats, there's a few. Si, we might need to come up with some Diplomatico hats. There's a bit of demand in the chat. People are going to want. I think the Maestro is setting a fashion statement here tonight.
Yeah, we definitely might have to bring up some Diplo hats. That's actually a cool as idea. That would be great. A little pin and a Diplo hat.
Yeah, 100%. Look, we've gone very, very long. I want to thank everyone. I'm going to kill the Facebook and YouTube streams. If you're in the Zoom chat, I'll hang around if there's any other questions. But just on record, I want to say thank you so much to the maestro for getting up so early in the morning and organizing this and having this happen, to Alfonso for everything you've done over the years for Asia Pacific, and we obviously see that filtering through in Australia. But for Syed for coming to me with this idea and working with this, through this with me and making it all happen. And it's been well, I don't use the word masterclass very often because I think you need a master to have a masterclass, and I think what we've seen tonight counts as a masterclass. So thank you guys so incredibly much, and to the team at Proof & Co, the distributors as well, who bring this in and make sure that I get what I want. So thank you to them as well. But I really appreciate it, guys.
Okay, was it a big pleasure, my friend.
Yeah. And so goodbye to everyone on the Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for joining us. I will look at that in a little bit.